How's it going, Jack Jackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I'm going to be doing my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 4, which was titled King County. And, of course, this is the episode in which Morgan goes back to King County, and it's a bit of a nostalgia fest. We get to see the house where Morgan and Rick and Dwayne were in the very, first episode of The Walking Dead in the pilot. And it was kind of cool, I got to admit, and I was looking forward to this episode for a while now. And I was, kind of hyped, I'm not going to lie. And I will say it probably is the best episode of the season. It's not a perfect episode or anything. I don't really like some of the scenes with Mo. I find her character just to not be interesting for some reason, and she's slightly annoying. And no offense to the actors playing her, but she's just like, I don't know, it really... Ugh, I'm not a fan of her character, but overall, I still thought the episode was all right, and yeah, I think it is the best episode. And this is where we see Morgan wanting to put Dwayne to rest, and they do some pretty interesting things in this episode, and we'll talk about them. But let's just go through the episode, brief rundown, and yeah, so we see Morgan arrive at King County. It's really cool just to see how overgrown it is, and they did a decent job at recreating it overall. I didn't really think it looked that much different from the pilot. Of course, it should look a bit different because it's been, at least a decade since Morgan's been here. So, I think overall they did a good job at recreating the house where Morgan and Rick were in the pilot. And I watched the episode Insider that played at the end of this episode where the showrunners were kind of talking about how they had to recreate all the sets. So, yeah, I think they did a pretty good job at recreating all of them for the most part. I don't really have too many issues with it. I mean, I'm sure you'd probably notice, if you did a back-to-back, kind of investigation, you would probably see that there are a few differences, but just, looking at it with a brief kind of glance, looks pretty similar. But anyway, long story short, Grace and Mo appear, and then Dwight and Sherry appear and are after Morgan because they want to bring him back to Padre in exchange for their son Finch, which Finch is still doing good after his treatment for his bite, which is very interesting. Again, it appears that there is a cure for walker bites, which is just insane. I'm still not really over that. Of course, I don't know how much they can kind of process, so to speak, because I feel like if there's a lot of people getting bit, they're not going to be able to treat all of them. You know what I mean? I feel like they need to have mass production of this treatment, and I feel like it takes a lot to actually cure a bite. So, I don't know. It's really not feasible yet because they still need to work out, again, mass production, in my opinion. And it's not like an injection, really. It's like a full-on treatment. So it's very interesting, though. But then Morgan tells Dwight and Sherry that he has to do something first, obviously referring to putting down the Walker version of Dwayne. And Lenny James's performance in this episode, fantastic. He's always great, obviously, as this character in the show. But, man, Lenny James is just awesome. I really do love that actor. He's really good. And especially in this episode, you could just see the emotion in him and all the conflict. It's really sad, to be honest. Morgan's gone through so much, and yeah, he's pretty broken overall. But so yeah, we see the old house that Morgan and Dwayne and Rick were in the pilot. That looked cool. And then Dwight and Sherry and two other people from Padre go with Morgan to the other house where Dwayne's supposed to be at. And he's not there, but we do see the corpse of Jenny, which is, I like throughout the episode where Morgan's trying to kill walkers, and then he keeps seeing Jenny as obviously a walker. And I wonder if they got the actress back who played Jenny. It seemed like they did, or maybe, I don't think that was old footage. I think that was kind of new, to be honest. So I don't know, maybe it was the makeup that kind of covered up her face, and maybe it wasn't the same actress who played Jenny, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of was. It looked pretty similar. But yeah, Morgan freaks out once he realizes Dwayne's, not at that house. And long story short, Dwight and Sherry contact Shrike on the walkie-talkie, and Finch is able to knock Shrike out and get on a boat where Dwight and Sherry are apparently going to meet him at the docks. And it's kind of goofy scene, to be honest, that Finch was able to just take out Shrike that easily. I mean, without any, problems. So that's kind of a negative I have with the episode. That was a really stupid, kind of goofy scene, but I don't know. I guess I'll let it slide. Who cares? Whatever. Because it, ultimately it makes it so Morgan doesn't have to go back to Padre and Dwight and Sherry can kind of move on. But then one of the best moments of this episode for me is when Mo finds Dwayne chained up in the attic. Now, interestingly enough, they kind of adapted some things from the comics in this episode, which is strange. The fact that we're still kind of getting comic adaptations in The Walking Dead shows. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's not exactly like the comics, of course, but I mean, the scene where Dwayne's chained, that's pretty much exactly out of the comics. I mean, that scene in, when Morgan and Rick, and I think Abraham's there as well in the comics. It's been a while since I've read them, but they go back to Morgan's house and Morgan is going to, kill Dwayne. Of course, in the comic, though, Morgan never has the courage to kind of go through with it and kill Dwayne or put him down, so to speak. He's not really Dwayne anymore. He's, a walker, obviously. So instead, I think you hear the gunshot in the comics and then you see that Morgan just shot the chain and, obviously basically let Dwayne go free, but Dwayne's still roaming around in the comics. But in this version, of course, which I like, this version made way more sense, for just the way Morgan's character was going. And it really made sense that Morgan was actually able to save Mo in that scene when she was almost about to get bit by, Walker Dwayne. And it was really cool that we got to see the Walker version of Dwayne. I honestly thought that since Dwayne wasn't in the house, that maybe Dwayne was still alive. There's been that theory that Dwayne's still alive. I've heard that theory so many damn times that Dwayne's alive. And it's kind of a cool theory. I think it's finally put to rest in this episode. Obviously because we see the Walker version of Dwayne, and I'm sure of course it wasn't the same actor who played Dwayne, but it didn't matter because obviously his face was all, rotted and he looked entirely different. So it didn't really matter that it wasn't the same actor, but I'm glad they did that. I was wondering if they were going to do that. And yeah, that was really cool. I really liked that we got to see the Walker version of Dwayne. And I'm sure there's still going to be some people saying that, oh, that wasn't Dwayne. Dwayne's still alive. What? Okay. No, I think it could finally be put to rest. But yeah, Morgan's able to kind of, kill Dwayne and put him to rest. And then he saves Mo. And then at the end of the episode, there's another walker that appears out of the rubble and is about to bite Mo, but then Grace kind of helps. And then she gets bit, which is kind of a crazy reveal, but then you realize, oh, yeah, the cure with, Finch, because that seems to work. Which, that really is the problem with, a cure storyline, which thankfully this is the final season of the show, so it kind of works to a degree. But, I mean, I don't know, this means a lot for the Walking Dead universe. You know what I mean? We have all these other shows still going on, and if there's actually a cure, and again, I talked earlier in this review about mass production, how are you going to, be able to handle all these people getting bit and yada, yada, yada. You need a solid system down so you can cure everyone who does get bit. But it does kind of take out all the, kind of threats of the walkers in the show if you can just automatically get saved. And I'm not saying that is going to happen. Maybe Grace does die. I'm sure there's spoilers out there or something, because there's already a lot of spoilers for this season I've seen. But yeah, I don't know if Grace, I assume Grace is probably going to survive. I saw the promo for next week's episode, and it seems like, it's going to be pretty intense. It's going to, they're going to be cutting it close. But Finch, again, seems pretty cured from his bite. But earlier in the episode as well, they did kind of mention that Grace's radiation, I guess poisoning is coming back. Her radiation's finally catching up to her, and she's sick again. And that's kind of interesting as well. So it's well, does it even matter if she gets cured from the Walker bite? Because it's she has, she's sick with the radiation, obviously. So I don't know, but it's interesting. But yeah, Morgan takes Grace and Mo back, and they meet up with Dwight and Sherry, and they want the kind of treatment that Shrike is creating. So it's very interesting. It really is, actually, because I don't exactly know if they are going to, save Grace. I think they probably will, but yeah, I don't know, this whole Cure storyline, it's interesting. Like, I don't know what this means for the universe ultimately. It's very interesting. And I wonder if like the CRM knows about this kind of treatment, or if there's another kind of treatment, like what's gonna go on with all of that. It's interesting. But yeah, it does kind of ruin, like there's not really, it does start to feel like there's not many stakes with the walkers, because again, if you can just automatically get cured. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say automatically, but it does kind of feel like, you know, it does kind of lower the threat of the walkers, which is just a bit of a problem. But overall, I thought this was a solid episode. Yeah, I guess it's my favorite of the season. Why not? I mean, the nostalgia kind of worked a little bit, and they showed the brief flashes of Dwayne and all that from the first episode of The Walking Dead, and whatever. I know some people are kind of tired with Morgan in the show, and a lot of people like to say that the show works a lot better without Morgan. And I mean, maybe. I do like a lot of the other characters, and I wish they got more focus. And I don't like how it did, this show ultimately kind of became Morgan's show. I don't like that, but I think this episode worked a bit more just because of him going back to King County and all that. So, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I guess it's the best. Again, I'm not saying it's a flawless episode. The stuff with Finch and Shrike, that was a stupid scene where he just knocks her down. It was like, what is that about? And yeah, you have Mo. I don't like Mo. She's an annoying character for some reason. I'm sorry. I just don't like her. Oh, I kind of feel bad, but whatever. But yeah, there you guys go. That's kind of my brief thoughts on the episode. Let me hear your thoughts on the episode down in the comments below. I'm actually super curious to see what you guys have to say about it, because I feel like this is an episode us diehard, Walking Dead fans had been wanting to see for a while. And I'm kind of sad now that it's over, because now I feel like I have nothing to really look forward to for the rest of the season, because I'm still this whole Padre plot line I don't really give a crap about. But yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below. If you guys liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Check out my Letterboxd and Twitter down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.